All right, Ethan, I'm assuming that you're busy doing other things, so I'll just go over the few things that I was going to do in class today. So we're in our evidence and investigation unit in um, week 2. And so this is what we were going to do today. Go to this website. You'll see it later on in the course too. And this week, I think later in this week, you have an activity with it. And so it's CSI Web Adventures, and then you see all the different tabs on here. Make sure you go to For Educators, and it's got some online activities there that you'll be doing throughout the course. This one, I just wanted to do the power of observation. So it just asks, how observant are you? Watch our short video, then we'll see how well you answer some simple questions about what you saw. Careful though, being a good eyewitness is not all it appears to be. So we're going to watch the video and then test your powers of observation. Just watch what's happening in the video the best that you can. Okay, so we've got this selective attention test, and there's people with balls there. Watch what's happening.
This is a test of selective attention. Count how many times the players wearing white pass the basketball.
And you probably don't hear the audio, but you don't really need any audio with it. He was just reading the screen.
How many passes did you count? The correct answer is 15 passes.
So did you get close to that? I know on my first time I didn't.
But did you see
But
the gorilla?
did you even see that there was a gorilla there?
This video is from research by Daniel Simons and Christopher Chabris and is copyrighted. It is available for use in talks, training, and teaching on DVDs from VisCog Productions. Learn more at theinvisiblegorilla.com.
So just a bit of interesting stuff there, hey? So sometimes what this shows us is that sometimes when we're thinking that we're paying close attention to one thing, something else could be happening and we're not even aware of it. So we think that we're observing really well. I like to think that I'm a good observer, but that's not always the case. Sometimes we still miss things. All right. And remember too, one thing I wanted to point out in our observation, evidence and investigation unit is that we tend to think in a lot of it, like even this, you'll see it's crime scene investigation, right? CSI stands for crime scene investigation. And so we think a lot of times that investigation has to do with crimes and what police do all the time. But it's not just about that. Evidence and investigation is just noticing what's around us, finding the evidence of things around us, and making conclusions or drawing conclusions based on that evidence. All right. So you'll see that throughout this unit, throughout this week especially, you'll be seeing different evidences of activity. So here again, right here is where you'll go to the CSI Web Adventures website, and this should take you directly to this site here where it says For Educators, and you'll be doing no, not this, online activities. That's what we want. And then you'll be doing the Spot the Difference activity for that one. What is evidence? Let's take a look at it and see. So evidence is the available body of facts or information indicating whether a belief or proposition is true or valid. It consists of the facts that prove a hypothesis to be true. So our evidence is the facts. So a hypothesis is our guess about what happened. The evidence is the facts to back up that guess or to disprove the guess. So what evidence can be found of human or animal activity? So if we look at this, we see what? Horseshoe prints in the snow, right? So we know by looking at that that a horse was walking through there. And that is an example of evidence. It doesn't tell us whether a crime has been committed or anything, but it just is some evidence to show that there have been horses there. In the second picture here, we see things scattered on the ground, garbage scattered. This doesn't give us much evidence that of what happened. We can't say for sure. Maybe it was a raccoon. Maybe it was another kind of animal looking for food, maybe even a bear. Maybe it was just a human who was really angry and scattered things around. We have no way of knowing, right? Here in the third picture is another example of evidence. And we have a bird. It looks like they've got some grass or something, some dried grass perhaps, in their bill. And it looks like there's a hole. So it looks like they're probably building their nest in the hole. That's likely what this is showing. But again, we don't know for sure unless we see the bird actually going into the hole and then perhaps staying in there for a while. Now, when people and animals have been in an area, they usually leave some sign that they have been there. With careful observation, often you can see this evidence and use it to gather information about who or what was there. Like if you look in your backyard or street, you'll see that signs that people and animals have been there. Sometimes it's obvious if something was left behind by a human or an animal. Sorry, my emergency alert is going on. Just a test though, nothing to be alarmed about. Sometimes it's obvious if something was left behind by a human or an animal, like footprints or even maybe a cup from coffee or a slushie or something, or a food wrapper. But sometimes it might be more difficult to tell. So in this section, you'll discover the types of evidence that might be left behind by both humans and animals, and how you might be able to tell them apart. Every place you go, you leave something behind and you take something with you. Most of the time, you don't even realize this is happening because many of the particles on your skin, your clothing, or your hair are so small you can't see them. But these bits of evidence are what investigators are looking for to find who might have been at a crime scene. But not all evidence is so small that you need special equipment to see it. Careful observation often reveals evidence of where someone has been. You need only to observe the kind of debris that you might see on their clothes. So you will be examining samples from 2 different locations, and the debris found on these samples may give you some information about where they came from. So our next assignment that we're going to do after you read through this investigates what evidence of human or animal activity can you find around your home. And if you see, here's some evidence that was collected in a bag. Looks like there's some hair there and maybe a piece of paper or something. And this one looks like it might be a button. Perhaps there's a button that fell off of something, right? So that gives you a bit of information about evidence. You've got some other assignments here. So in this assignment, you're going to search for evidence around your home. Now this might be tricky if there's snow outside, but you might still be able to do it. You might have to do it inside your home, okay? So you're going to select an area either in your house if there's snow outside, because if there's snow it just won't work as well, or around your yard if you have like an open patch of grass or dirt perhaps. But try to find somewhere that has a lot of debris on the ground. So for example, don't wait until just after you vacuumed the floor. Okay? Do it before you vacuum or sweep or something. And you're going to drop an item of clothing on the ground. Something like a sweatshirt would work really well for this. And then pick it up and shake it over the large sheet of white paper to remove any of the loose debris. So you need a large and a small sheet of white plain paper for this. Just copy paper from your printer would work to do this. Then take a few strips of tape and press them onto the item of clothing to remove any debris that's still stuck on the clothing. If you have the thick packing tape, like what you'd use to seal boxes, then that would work best. Not the colored stuff, but the stuff that you can see through. You can use each strip of tape a few times until it loses the stickiness. Then put the tape on another piece of white paper, or a smaller piece, so you can make your observations, and record any debris you've collected from the item. And I mean the item of clothing there. And complete the data. Here's the data that you need to collect. And repeat those steps for a second area using a different item of clothing. So you'll need 2 separate sweatshirts or 2 separate pieces of clothing. Even a t-shirt would work too. And you need to tell me what the area was, what the item of clothing was, and the evidence found in your observation. So your evidence is, for example, if you pick up a twig, then your evidence would be the twig. Your observation is that there was a broken twig on the ground. Okay, so keep those straight. What your evidence is, the evidence is the actual thing, and your observation is what you know or what you can find out about that thing. Okay, and here's what you need to submit to. So you're going to do the data information, make sure you submit that. And then you have these questions here as well. Okay, picture of your evidence, complete data information set, and the answers to these questions. That's what I expect in this assignment. So there's the evidence around your home. Then we'll talk about evidence of animal activity and animal tracking. Of course, the most obvious animal evidence is their footprints, right? Their tracks that they leave. So knowing how to spot animal tracks can be an important thing. All right. So talking about animal tracking, animal activity. There's a short quiz there and a little scripture interpretation for you to do as well. All right. So evidence that Christians have that we are sons of God. And remember, in the Bible, when we talk about sons of God, we're talking about sons and daughters together, right? Okay, so that's basically an overview of week 2, what I expect you to get done. So finish that up. I look forward to seeing the work that you hand in, and you can let me know if you have any questions. All right? So hope to talk to you soon, and I look forward to seeing your good work. Thanks. Bye.